This is another interactive section, so if you like, it might be useful to pause the video here and have a think about what points might be under 4, 8, and 9 of this section. I'll now outline the interview process. So firstly, you introduce yourself, offering your ID to the interviewee. Give them the goodwill offering and sit down with them in a quiet, comfortable space. Secondly, outline the project to your interviewee. What is it? Why are you conducting the interview? Although they should know this already, it is good to start by outlining it again, just to confirm that you're both on the same page. Outline the interview style. Explain that you will stay fairly quiet while they are talking because you're listening. If they want any breaks, then just ask to pause the recording. If there's anything they don't want to talk about, then just say and we will move on, etc. Mention the themes that you're going to cover and the amount of time it might take to do this. Number 4 is get the interviewee's permission to be recorded, the participation agreement. Explain this form to them step by step, and if they're unclear on what some parts mean, explain those too. 2 of these forms should be signed before recording starts, one for them to keep and one for you to keep. Then you can begin recording after testing that your recording device is working. Start off the interview by introducing yourself and the interviewee, naming the project and stating the date and time. For example, my name is Amy and I'm interviewing John Smith for an oral history museum project. The date is the 16th of September 2020 and the time is 2:30 p.m. Thank you for joining me, John. To start with, can I just ask you about, etc. Then begin asking questions. We'll go over this in more detail a bit later, and you can also find more guidance on questions in the manual on our website. Then you finish the interview. Stop recording and thank the interviewee, letting them know about the next steps and when they can expect to receive a copy of the recording. Number 8, get the interviewee's copyright permission and written approval to use the recording agreement. Again, 2 of these should be signed, one for them and one for you. Finally, send a copy of the interview to the interviewee after the process is over. Permission forms. There are a number of boxes which you'll need to tick regarding consent when it comes to the day of the interview, and it's really important that you follow these. As I mentioned earlier, there are 2 permission forms, the participation agreement and the recording agreement. Both of the permission forms that you'll be taking with you to the interview are essential that the interviewee sign. Otherwise, you will not be able to record them or keep and use the recording for the project. Therefore, if the interviewee expresses doubts or does not wish to sign either one of the forms, it would be best to kindly highlight to them that you will not be able to go ahead with the interview if they're not signed. The participation agreement. The participation agreement will be signed at the start of the interview, before recording begins, and this provides the interviewee's consent to take part and be recorded. It's double-sided, and it is essential that you get the interviewee to sign 2 copies of the document, so that they have one to keep and you have one to take away. The recording agreement. The recording agreement will be signed at the end of the interview, after recording has finished. If you're doing 2 interviews with your interviewee, then obviously the recording agreement would be signed after the end of the second interview. This is just so that they know what it is they have said in the recording that they are handing over. It's designed to allow you to use the recording in the future for things like exhibitions and online. There is space on this form for the interviewee to specify any conditions you have regarding the usage of the recording. So, for example, if they wanted anonymity of the recording when it's used in exhibitions, or the interview not to be used online, and so on, they could specify this. Again, you need to sign 2 copies of the recording agreement, one for the interviewee to keep and one for you to file.